Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast.
Not remote.
Nope.
Back in the donjon.
We're here.
In the donjon with the heater on because it's a titty bit chilly.
It is.
In here this evening.
It is. Did some post-podcast talking about sponsorship stuff because we've had some people reaching out, which is fucking awesome. Thank you to the listeners. You all are the ones that are getting that done.
Yes.
We appreciate the shit out of that. If we get a little money rolling in on this deal, it's going to benefit everybody because we can get nicer shit, start traveling a little bit more.
We travel.
We do.
But we usually try to keep it within that 2.5 hour radius.
I just had a guy reach out to me from the Nebraska region, and they're wanting us to make the trip out. So, and we're a good 4.5 hours from them. So that's
right in there. Yeah,
over the night deal. You know,
it depends on how much they hear during that deal.
But that's what we're doing there. I mean, we're not looking to get rich off this deal because we're treating this just like our derby stuff. This is more of a hobby. We just don't want it to cost us money. Yeah, I mean,
it costs a little bit, when it costs to start it up and computers.
We're $1,100 to $1,500 deep in this thing. Right
not counting fuel and beers. But we've been slacking a little bit on the beer side. I mean, you're not going to hear a today.
Nope.
I
gotta fucking take off early in the morning.
It's late on a Sunday evening, and nobody wants to feel like shit in the morning.
Right. We had to call in some favors to get a guest on today because everybody's sick.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We brought it out.
We started this discussion
a couple weeks ago. That we're all wanting to get back into some rides. We're
100%.
The promoting side is put way the fuck on hold.
Yes.
Because we have all figured out you can't do both.
You can't.
And
I guess there's some people out there that are doing it. I commend them.
Yeah.
The stress from the promoting side of it was enough for me not to want to be in the shop while we weren't putting on a show.
Yep. And when you're married with kids and you got family stuff and you're trying to balance everything else, I mean, it's a bitch.
Yeah.
And then, you get to work and be gone for a week at a time. And then by the time I get home, it's evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just don't feel like it.
And people understand that. I mean, and there's, I wouldn't know how to act. And it's been really weird the last 2 weeks coming home every night. It's
well, that's the cool part of being, an hour and 10 minutes away, something like that.
I'm home between 6 and 7 o'clock at night now, and I'm like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do now?
But now you're kind of feeling my side, when I get home when I leave at 6:50 and I get home roughly about 6, you just only have a couple hours to hang with the family, and then you're going to go take a shower and go to bed and do it all over again.
But there's just something about sleeping in my bed.
It is.
That
it is way different.
I'm way good with.
Yeah. But I have...
And honestly, I mean, I don't want to see my lady more than a couple hours a day.
Notice she's not in here today to slap the fuck out of you when you said that.
I guess she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yep. I have been asked several times this week alone, hey, found any cars? Hey, found any cars? Hey, found any... I said, yeah, I have. But I have not jumped off of the...
I would wait just a minute.
The deep end because of some rules. I don't know if I guess I'm maybe still old school guy a little bit more than the new age type. But I know what my budget is.
Right.
And I can't go in... balls deep.
And start with street stock.
Correct.
I get it. And I don't know that there's not a lot of people out there that do that.
Not usually.
A lot of these people that we've talked to have started at the bottom, and now they're here. You know the song about that.
I'm going to sing it.
But, and with this year's rule mix-up, everybody's having a hard time figuring out where they're going to fit in.
Mm-hmm. I've had guys tell me that they're, as of right now, they have Spring X on their schedule, and some of them are saying that that's could be it.
You know, and there's some other local guys that are working on Bowling Green cars already.
Mm-hmm. And then we got some other local guys that are already up on the Peoria and Carnage side, as we talked to Teddy, last week.
Well, Pecatonica,
that's June.
Yeah.
We were just speaking before the go button. You've got Carnage and Peoria in March.
With all these big shows that are coming out, and then the rule mix-up that we had here in Missouri, everybody's looking at the big shows.
Yes.
And, I mean, they're not just looking at them, they're headed that way in a dead run. It was almost like it was the push that they needed to
go do it.
The horizon.
Yeah, to go do that big shit that they've been holding out on.
They've been talking about it. We've been in their shops. We know a lot of these guys on a personal level. And honestly, I don't know that is just the case here in Missouri after we've branched out and started talking to other people. It seems like there's a lot of people with big show agendas this year, this coming year.
Yes.
With Sam breaking the mold with what he's doing, a lot of people are looking at that. They're like, man, I want in on that.
Yeah.
And they're putting enough big shows out there now, everybody's getting the opportunity to run them.
We hit on it a little bit last week with Teddy. You've got, is it 6 or 7 qualifiers? 7, I think, now, where you can qualify to the South Dakota stuff. And you're talking everything from Black Hills beat down in South Dakota to Utah to Illinois, all the way to Pennsylvania. So really that's...
right there, that's where a little bit of me wanted to stay into the promotion stuff after Sam dropped that shit. Because how cool would it have been to have like a Mother's Day Madness qualifier on there? That would have put Missouri in the running for that.
That would have been... I think it'd be awesome, but I think we would have been more criticized.
Oh, 100%.
We would have been a little bit more under the microscope. Because I promise you,
been like, who the fuck are these guys?
Because I promise you right now, for the last month, Tim Clark has been criticized more in the last month than we had ever thought about being in 5 years.
Nobody ever judges you on your wins.
No, they judge you on your fuck ups.
Yeah,
100%. And that's just, like I said, just like you said, I think that would have been badass. My personal thought, I wish instead of all singles, they would have done team shows.
Right.
And then your teams qualified, and then fill your singles up for.
But I think this is what everybody's wanting.
They want to see the baddest motherfucker in the country. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So, but that always turns around to that bad dude can have some real shitty luck in one of them or two of them.
We heard Teddy say it last week. What's Rob's philosophy on that?
Better be lucky and good.
Any day. But let's get into some of these rules.
We have, before we hit that button again, I think the first derby around is Sturgeon.
Yeah. Because it's the same weekend as
Spring X.
Yeah.
Solo Boys. They have branched out to do some stuff, and it looks like they are going to do
like a hobo stock.
A hobo stock and then a regular stock, and kind of looking through the rules.
The stock rules are ours.
Yeah. I'm not saying a few words haven't been changed here and there, but
you can see the similarity.
Correct. I don't know if it was their choice on that showtime or it was Sturgeon's choice on that showtime. But we've always said we don't want to see anybody fail.
No, because if everybody fails, so does the sport.
Correct.
I think that all these small-time promoters have flooded the market a little bit, and it's going to hurt them? Yeah. Yeah, I do.
It's kind of like going to an outlet mall. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're trying to get that discount, and then shit sold out. Well, you want to have get your Chinese made, Nike swoosh sweatshirt that the swoosh is backwards, or do you want to get the real deal? So, these guys.
Well, and a big deal with where I'm at with it, them going backwards on some of these rules softer, and not just one promoter, a couple of them that are doing local shows around here, softening these cars up, but wanting to have more shows. It doesn't work like that.
It means you got to build more cars, or drive like a pussy.
Right. And a lot of the guys that we know don't drive like that.
No. Some of them do.
Right.
Some of them are very
frugal.
Yes, frugal and a lot of precision. But then you've got your guys that are just going to go out and full send that bitch and not worry about it. They're not going to
build a car every week.
Nuh-uh. They're going to bend it. They're going to pull it down. They're going to put some plates on it. And then they're going to do the exact same thing again.
Yep.
I know that the Solo Boys deal, they lock Sturgeon in really quick.
Right.
And I know if you go onto their social media stuff that, they're talking about some other stuff, maybe other shows that they're going to be able to have. But Show Me Promotions? Showtime Officials.
Yeah.
I know that they locked in Salisbury. Slater is Slater Goatee Promotions, isn't it?
No, that's same people. So.
Same guys. But then they turn around and they got Higbee. They locked in Higbee. They don't know if it's May 13th or 20th. It's what it looks like on their social media side. Some of those messages that we get from the guys, some of them they have spent money, time, building their setups up, even on the stock side, with wheels. Their big deal is, full centers.
Right.
So we all know how much wheels and tires cost anymore.
Right.
For a set.
And that comes back to that lightening those rules up. People don't want to keep buying wheels.
Nope.
And we've talked about it before. Sometimes a solid wheel's not the way to go.
Mm-mm. Teddy hit on that last week.
Yeah.
You go to a show and it's got some grease on it. You can't move for shit.
Right.
But that dude running 25s, he just runs circles right around you like you were sitting still.
Yep. So I think we're going to see a little issue with the amount of shows that everybody's wanting to see this year compared to the builds that they're building. Because they're not going to have, they don't have the harder cars. They don't have the street stocks that they can build this year.
Yeah.
And with them not having the street stocks that hold repair and run again is going to be out there. You're going to spend some time in the shop.
It's not like the price of cars are just keep going down.
No.
Not everybody.
I'm anxious to see these payouts too. Because if you're wanting me to waste a $300 or $400 car every show, you're going to have to pay better than $1,000.
Or in some cases, like $200 and a Snickers.
Yeah. We guarantee you it's 100% payback.
100% payback with 642 cars. Yeah, that shit gets old.
Well, they're not going to do it. Drivers aren't going to do it.
No, they're going to.
We talk to them. They're not doing it for the money, but they want to be compensated.
Correct. We were, Filthy was doing $50 entries and paying out anywhere between $1,800 to $1,200.
Yeah.
Our compact stuff usually paid out more than everybody else's big car stuff.
Right.
And the $50 entry. So now they're going to go to Spring X.
They're not run for you for hard dick and bubble gum.
No, they're not going to junk their.
Last very long?
No, they're not.
That's not what they're looking for.
Yeah, they are not going to junk their shit for $800.
No. half the time I'm out of bubble gum anyway.
and Viagra.
So, I mean, those are some of the concerns that I'm seeing arise just right off the bat. And that's just me outside looking in. Opinions are like assholes.
Everybody's got one. But the thing is what I think what a lot of these guys are figuring out, such as Rob, which, Rob and Trey and Teddy, they've been running on the big stage for quite a while. It's not just like, hey, let's just go do this. So, in that same token, now you've got some Browns. They're leaving that small stage and they're wanting to go to the big venues. The build process really is the same for the majority.
But you know that you're running for real money.
And not much more entry fee.
And you're going to be held to a certain standard. Well, that's the way everybody's feeling. You're held to a certain standard at these bigger shows.
Correct.
So you know that you're going to get that mostly fair tag.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's perfect.
Correct.
But you take Joe Blow that's putting on, Dog Dick County Fair with these bullshit rules, and they've got 3 guys that kind of know what they're doing, and their buddy rolls in.
With 5 of his cousins.
Yeah. You're not going to get as good a tech as what they got.
No. None.
And
Zero.
you don't see a lot of that on the big stage. I mean, there is certain situations. The shit happens.
Yep. These guys, I really think, I said it up to the time of Blizzard Bash. That's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So now what we have is a whole bunch of playoff games to get you to a new Super Bowl. And we said it the other day. Blizzard Bash isn't going anywhere. No matter who is promoting it, who is running the show, even the guys who are super pissed off and said, fuck this, we're never going back.
Somebody will step up.
Correct. Yes, always. And it will happen. Because it'll be those Dalen or Cody, hey, let's go try our hands on this thing. So.
And every once in a while, we've said it a million times on here, you need that shakeup.
Yep. Yes. Because
monotony ruins shit.
Just like we said last week with Teddy, the Lightwell team show, that was the best stack of teams.
Yes.
The qualifying side, that was the best stack of teams.
Well, and just like Teddy was talking whenever he said he went and run Jim Falls.
Mm-hmm.
New competition, new faces. You don't want to run against the same 6 guys all year.
No.
Especially if you're all building on the same job.
And that's where that comes into, you get buddies, you've got 2 derbies on the same night locally. And then people are pissed off, man, why didn't you come here? Well, there's 6 of us, so we sent 3 here and 3 of us went over there. And you hope that all is going to work out in turn. Either you're still beating on your 3 buddies at the end instead of 6 of you, but at least 3 of you are taking money home at each spot.
But let's get back into some of these rules. So we've got a guy that we're going to get on the phone. We're going to talk to him. He's a promoter as well as a driver. See how he picked his rules and what his thoughts on all of it. We've talked about how we picked ours whenever we were promoting. We seen what was working for everybody else. And went with those rules.
Yeah.
We had a tech that we felt was as fair as possible. Now, these guys that are just getting into this promoting stuff, with the new shakeup on the rules, where do you think they're going to land at as far as car counts? Because I didn't see where that was really a driver-initiated rule set. Because I don't feel it was that way.
So they're
forcing rules on people.
Correct, where nobody had any input on what they think would have been the best.
Right.
Not very many people do that. We did.
Well, look at the car counts.
Correct.
I mean, it proved itself.
Yeah. it comes back to as many big shows as there are from March to September. I think a lot of the local stuff, no matter if it's the new promoters or the ones who have been in the game for several years, I think they're all going to get nut kicked.
I do too, because
I really do.
As a driver, looking at it from a driver's standpoint, I've looked at all these big shows and I've picked 2 or 3 of them out that I like the rule set to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to build to.
Yep.
Well, everybody can do that as long as you've got a smartphone or access to the internet.
You can look at everybody's rules.
You can find out what rule set you want to run.
Mm-hmm.
And with a little bit of traveling and a couple of buddies.
How's
that other song go with I get by with a little help from my friends?
Not the street pharmacist.
No, I'm just telling you, that's what it takes.
I think it's all depicting on how far you're willing to drive.
Right.
Really, I mean.
But I'm telling you, that's what it's going to come down to with people not liking their local rules.
And that always kicks them in the nuts. Because
it hurts these small towns.
It does. So, say I live in Madison. I want to go run Madison. I want to run my hometown shit. But I'm built for Spring X rules.
Right.
Just getting back into it, I realized that I don't have enough shit for 2 cars. But my Spring X car just needs a little help. But I could run it again somewhere else. So in that same token, you've got to build a fresh car.
Right.
As Teddy just said, pull all your shit out of one car, build a new one, set your used one over here to the side, and hope and pray that you can pull your shit out of the one you just had to build to go put back in that one.
So I think we're at a common understanding here, because I don't want to get too far off topic. My thoughts behind the whole deal is, like, Spring X not a new thing.
No.
The Sam Williams hobo rules, that's not new.
No. There's been some tweaking.
Yep. But nothing extravagant.
No.
Nothing that couldn't be fixed from show to show.
Mm-hmm.
Spring X Mayhem's been around. Hot Springs. Those shows, people know about these shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know about these shows. If you're listening to this Derby podcast and you know...
There's probably not ever going to be a show that we're going to tell you, a big show, that somebody hasn't heard about, except for the new shit.
So you're telling me, like, whenever we were sitting around in the wintertime talking to our techs, talking to our drivers, whenever you get a text from one of our drivers, hey, man, I really like Hot Springs rules. Well, let me throw that out there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
See who else is liking that. See who from our area runs that. See who's going from, northeast Missouri, driving to Arkansas and running those rule sets. Well, we got 15 guys that from up here that run that. Just throwing numbers out. So they like that rule set. Well, there's 20 guys from here going to Spring X. Same class. Damn, they like that rule set. You had 60 people trying to get into Blizzard Bash and Sam's stock class. Shit, they like that rule set. Well, as a promoter, that's where I was getting my information.
What's that band? The Great Divide.
Yeah.
I mean, so on the promotional side, that's where you have to figure out what's going to work the best for everybody. Can you
pull your thumb out of your ass and put it on the test?
Can you pull some of these cars? Can you pull some? You're trying to figure out a center point to get everybody on that outer circle to come into that middle without a shitload of changing, completely cutting your car apart.
Whenever you make decisions like that and you make those shows happen, they build themselves.
Mm-hmm.
These shows take care of themselves.
Yep.
If you can feed off of somebody else that's already successful, that shit runs downhill.
Yes.
You can ask any plumber I've ever met. That's how that works.
I just wish they would all jump on.
Yeah.
Because there is a company around here that they are putting in the hobo rule with a few tweaks. He tried to get several other small promotional companies the same way to run their rules. And it kept coming back to a rear end issue.
I had the same issue.
Yes. So these guys were saying, no, we're not going to allow any 9-inch Fords. The fuck? That Lincoln that I just bought has got a 9-inch under it. Why? You're telling me I can't run it? No, because we don't want any aftermarket axle availabilities or any welding on the rear end.
So you're telling me that you can't get aftermarket 31 splines for an 8.8?
I don't know. That was their deal. They, we don't want the 35 splines.
I'm going to say it again. Google is your friend.
And
if you don't have a smartphone, fucking ask your buddy.
I promise you.
At work, on lunch, be like, hey man, can I borrow what do you find I need? Let's Google.
Yes.
Ask Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah, Siri will tell you.
This is what I think.
That Moser makes a 35 spline axle setup to go into an 8.8, 10 bolt, a 12 bolt, a 14 bolt, 9-inch. Some other shit that's out there that I don't know about.
Well, so can I run an 8 3/4 rope bar?
See, they are trying to get rid of something that.
All they got to do is say no aftermarket axles, and then if they want to stick to it at that show, pull the fucking axle out.
Mm-hmm. Pull them out. Pull them out. And then one of them said no welding on the housing at all. Well, I understand no bracing, but
Sam's shit's the same way.
So here's my question. I know NLR makes a bracket for a 10 bolt where you actually take the rear diff cover off. Bracket slides over the studs for your bracket for your pinion brake. Uh-huh. I haven't looked on John's website to see how much it is, but that just nullifies you being able to just, hey, I've got an extra pinion brake lane here. I just got to weld some brackets on it, no problem.
Right.
That just gets thrown right out the window.
You're going to keep seeing it. You're going to keep seeing it because you cannot eliminate all those factors because somebody out there somewhere with a CNC machine
is smarter than I am.
Yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my whole issue is with all these rule sets. They are making rules. You're going to hate it. In the world of racing, rules cost you money.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. So if you have a motor rule, it says can't have flat top pistons. Some rich asshole is going to go cut, deck, and plane his block.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the same compression, spending 3 times as much money as broke-ass dude over here in his garage. He's just going to put some 250 domes in it and roll on with it.
Right.
Derby world is the same thing.
Because there's somebody out there somewhere that will build you what you need.
From the front bumper to the back bumper and everything in between. Something has got to give.
Well, it's the rules. Like, that's where you're going to have to come on a common ground to play the game. Because you can make this as expensive or inexpensive as you want.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people with the stock rules, man, I don't want to have to build this 9-inch up. Let me run a floater. So they gave them to them.
Yep.
You know, they're going and buying $200, $250 14 bolts. Weld them up. There you go.
Yep.
There's your axle situation out of the way.
Mm-hmm. So here's, when they said there's no welding on rear ends. If anybody does any type of research, me and you have talked before, there's a certain manufacturing company that they're pretty big. And they come with a 35 spline factory axle. Well, it's any factory axle. It's not my fault that I did the research and you're pissed off because my shit is a half-inch bigger around than yours is. Right. This isn't a pissing contest, and that's what it seems to me like these guys are trying to make. These local guys are trying to make it out to be a pissing match. Swinging dick contest, whatever. I think if they would just work together.
Yeah.
Okay. off air, we had got phone calls and messages and shit, earlier this summer. They called the big three for the promotion companies in this part of the state. We were one of those big three. The other two, I can't really qualify them as big as what I would say. So a lot of these people were going off of our stuff to get our cars on our off time.
Which was smart.
Duh.
What do you think I was doing? What do you think got us to where we were? Candace she will vouch. I've got the message on my phone where I messaged her and was like, hey, I've already checked your dates. I'm going to jump in after Bowling Green. And I'm going to try to get some of these local cars to come run my show. Can I use your rules? As long as you give us credit for the rules, of course you can.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, if I put Filthy Promotions is going to add a class that the rules were
Domination Motorsports.
Domination Motorsports. I said, Domination Motorsports Street Stock class. She's like, perfect.
Yep.
Use them.
Mm-hmm.
So I copy, paste, still have a watermark on it.
Yeah, and rolled with it.
And she was like, no, it's fine. That is smart. Do that. But it's whenever you start stepping on everybody's dick, that's whenever it becomes the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a totally different episode. We can get all into that. But the rule thing is just what's working at the time. Because us smaller promoters have to look at what the bigger guys are doing to figure out how to run our shit to get any kind of quality build.
That shit rolls downhill.
100%.
It's always a trickle-down effect. And it doesn't matter if it's a sport or a business or
that's how you
whatever.
Keep shit floating.
Yes.
That's how you keep it rolling.
Yeah. And it's the guys who want to always fight against it. It just, they're hurting everybody.
Hell, we had quantity and quality just because of show positioning.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you, we didn't go out on the limb except for one time, and it worked. But that was Mother's Day Madness. But honestly, we had allowed the pre-runs.
Yep.
Because our street stock rules, again, were Domination Motorsports street stock rules. So there was leftover cars from Domination's shows that come and run our team show.
These guys, and it's going to suck to say, I think they're going to learn the hard way. But then it comes right back to, we don't want to see them fail.
Right.
So, okay, show that's 25 miles from my house. You scheduled on the same time as a major show.
Right.
Within 3 hours of us.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different rule set.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, those people didn't reach out to said drivers that could possibly come run their shit. Said, hey, does this date work for you guys? Well, fuck no. We're going to Champaign. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, shit. I'll go get with the fair board. I will adjust.
How about that?
I will adjust. But no.
I don't care what kind of promoter you are. You'll grab cars. Because there will be the people that didn't get in, the people that didn't want to get in. Because we've still got people around here that are against big shows.
Oh, yeah.
They're losing that quality again.
I'm never going to talk down about a driver or a builder.
No.
But there is always that level. And we've talked about that level, the bottom side of a build to pushing every possible inch you could ever push on it.
I feel like you're talking about me. If you want to say my name.
No, I'm not.
Because I build at the bottom end and still go to the big shows.
You must be talking about me.
I think you can, if some of these guys would go up to that, at least that middle row, I think they would be a lot happier with the outcome of their abilities. Because I've seen some guys that can drive, but their shit is garbage. If they would spend just a little bit of cash, whether it's a transmission, motor, rear end, if they can just do a little bit more, And if they can run 2 or 3 derbies with better shit, they'll finish in the money more and pay for that better shit.
Well, that seems like a good spot to pump the brakes. Let's get our guest on. All right, well, we got the man on the phone. You want to introduce this fella?
How about some swag derby shop, Mr. Josh Wagner himself?
What's going on, Josh?
What's going on, guys?
Well, we've been talking about rules. You are a promoter as well as a builder. You've been all over the place, watching shows, running in shows. So you've seen it. You've got some crazy successful derbies going on down in your neck of the woods. What got you started as far as the rule set whenever you started putting on shows?
So, when I started putting on the shows, and actually my first show was naturally my hometown show, the fair here at Owensville in Gascony County here in Missouri. And I kind of just was, honestly, they ran through most of the promoters, and they didn't really care for the outcomes of most of them. And it was either going to be, hey, let's get rid of the derby, get something else in here, or we need to figure this out. So I stepped back from running and basically said, hey, I'm going to help you guys out. Let's continue the derby. And I kind of just based it off. The first year, I kind of just put a feeler out there to kind of see what everyone wanted to do. And it kind of just took off from there. And actually, we've made some tweaks and, some changes throughout the years, added a few shows. But really, I've always based it off of kind of opinions. You can't change your show or make your show off everyone's opinions, but kind of get a baseline,
a general
from a lot of people,
consensus,
and combine it all and try to make the best outcome for the drivers and for the fans in the stands.
That's what we were hitting on earlier, is because we've got some guys, that since Filthy Promotions has stepped away, we've got other guys that are coming in, and we haven't heard of anything about them talking to other drivers, other promoters, nothing. They're just kind of throwing up their own shit. And we've always said we don't want to see any promoter fail, but I'm just hoping and praying that's not going to happen. But it seems like they're trying to lead that horse to that water.
Yeah, it's. I understand that putting on derbies is also a business, but I'm kind of the opposite. I always tell some people that I'm really not a promoter. I just assist fairs, county fairs, to make sure they have a successful derby. And when I step in to help that out, I always put the drivers first because I'm still a driver myself. And I try to give the driver the best night of being in the car, as well as giving the people in the stands the best show they've watched in a long time. That's my 2 goals for every show that I put on.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly where we're at with all this, because some of the rule sets that we've run are not particularly my favorite build, but a majority of our drivers liked it. That's what they wanted. So at that point, what I wanted was out the fucking window. You're doing that so that, like you said, you can put on the best show for the driver and the fan in the same. I mean, because you want the quality builders, you want the quality drivers, but you want the fans to see the show that they're paying for that seat.
100%.
And I just feel like that if you go into something like that with trying to run stuff the way you want it run, you're missing your mark.
Oh yeah, I mean I can't be going into, like, my first show is in June. I can't be going into my first show and be like, man, I really want to see this type of build. I really want to see this. I want to see that. This is how I'm going to do the show. Like, I can't do that because, at the end of the day, it's not about me. I'm just kind of the messenger, or maybe the
middleman,
guy that's leading the horses to the water.
Yeah, you're that middleman.
the drivers are always going to be the ones that actually put the show on. I'm just kind of helping there. I'm kind of there to help just make sure it goes in a timely manner and keep everything on schedule. But yeah, I actually was a big diehard mod guy, and then when I started putting these shows on, I was starting to run some more stock build stuff, and I kind of fell in love with that again because it went back to being a driver, not a builder, and kind of fell in love with that. So then I started basing my big class off of that, and then I just started taking suggestions from people, and over the years have just created, the different types of classes I do run plus the rules. So and it can change every year for me. I always take suggestions from everybody. So at the end of the day, you never know. Something might be changed, something might not be changed. It's just kind of how I feel and how I think it's going to affect the whole outcome of the show.
100%. I mean, because you're getting to see those car counts that people are loving. Those. Anything, I feel like in Missouri, with your fair shows, anything over 60 cars is a win.
Even 50. That 50 plus.
Yep.
And with, at some of those shows where you were having the Enduros and stuff like that, I mean, you were hitting that 100 car mark, weren't you?
Yeah, I've had, man, I'm telling you, I just count it as a blessing. I mean, most of my shows have been great, and I hope they continue, I mean, I try not to take anything from anyone, and I always hope for the best for everyone, including everyone putting on derbies.
Yes, 100%.
And I love big car counts, but
so
even if you have a 50 car count, it's always, make every driver that showed up there feel like $1 million and just put a hell of a show on.
Yes, and see, that's what we always prided ourselves on. We treated the entry-level guy the same way that we did the winner from Blizzard Bash.
Yep.
I mean, and they realize that, they recognize the hospitality.
Yep.
I mean, if you show up and treat these guys like shit, they're not going to want to come back.
No, not at all.
So, what are your plans for this summer? Because I know that there's a lot of guys looking for places to run.
Oh man, I've had, honestly, I'm a busy person anyway. I for sure have my 3 guaranteed shows as of right now. There's a lot of people talking to me. Nothing set in stone other than the 3 that I have for sure. But
you are thinking about branching out there a little bit?
What's that?
I said you are thinking about pulling out and branching out a little bit?
I haven't 100% made my mind up. I mean, there's a few fair shows that I wouldn't mind assisting. It's just I gotta watch what I do because I don't want to have a show, say tonight, and then have one in 4 days from now. I mean, I want to help as many people out as I can to have a successful fair derby, but I also don't want to have a show 4 days apart and it affect another show of mine down the road that I've had and be successful, if that makes any sense.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Because we have realized even, on the putting on side that you might be a month apart from each other, but one town is always going to draw more cars than the other town.
Yep.
Even with the same rule sets, the same officials, the same techs, same payouts, same start time, same everything, you're exact twins, but one town is always going to pull more. I don't know if it's because of all the redneck in us, where every Tom, Dick, and Harry shows up for Shelbina, and Owensville's right up the road with the exact same everything, and then Owensville slacks, or vice versa. So I think you have figured out to the extent that you're not going to over push, you're not going to overdo your schedule. You're going to keep it where the fans, drivers, builders, they're all kind of, it's the anticipation.
Yep.
Well, Josh,
it's tough because I got some close fairs. That's the problem. I mean, I love this great state that we live in, but there's some counties that are only 24 miles apart, and they each of them want to have a great fair and want to have a great derby, but when they're 5 days apart, it's tough. And I don't want to be the guy that has to make the decision which one I'm going to do. But, I mean, I'm also not out aggressively looking to add shows. I have, like I said, I am talking to a few of them. And hopefully we can get something worked out. He really, and I just don't want to get so spread out because I really don't do this for, like, a business side of it. So sometimes it can play a toll on me because, I mean, I pretty much do it for nothing. And because I put everything towards the drivers. And it kind of spreads me thin sometimes, because usually, I mean, Steve knows what kind of work I do, so I can't just take the day off before the Derby and be home and do it. If I'm out 2,200 miles from home, I'm pretty much got to take the week off if I have a Derby on a Thursday night. So
correct.
It's just tough trying to balance it all out, but I always hope for a great season.
Well, I mean, that was spoken like a true promoter. You know what I'm saying? Like what he is saying, as far as I'm concerned, is the same values and stuff that we were running.
Yep.
You want to make sure that everybody has the best possible outcome for the situation of the show.
Yep.
And I mean, that's honestly what this sport needs. Like that's what keeps this sport growing.
Yep.
Yep, and I try to tell all my guys that support my shows too. At the beginning of my season, and even to the last Derby or the last night of the season for us, I'm always going to put the driver number one. But I always ask them to remember that I'm also there I'm there for a dual-purpose job. I'm there for the driver to have an awesome experience, try to have the best payouts, the best trophies to present to them. But my job also at the end of the night is also to make the fair board successful at getting people in the stands, filling seats, buying that funnel cake, buying that corn dog, fish sandwich, buying, 2 gallons of beer at the beer garden. My job was to fill the stands. So, at the end of the day, I have a dual purpose, and it seems like so far I'm not going to say I got it figured out, but so far we've been lucky, and we've had great car counts, great stand. We've filled the stands almost every show so far to date, and just hopefully it gets better.
Now, I'm going to ask you, you've got your 3 set in stone. What classes do you run, Josh?
So if I was going to, now, I don't want people, if they're going to listen to this tomorrow, I don't want them to be like, oh, he said it, but initially, if you see one of my flyers, you're going to see a 3-day bone stock compact class. So it's pretty much cut and dry. A little bit of safety features allowed to keep the driver safe, but other than that, it's a 3-day build car. I've been running the Enduro race, which is basically like a figure 8, but it's just roundy round. There's no figure 8 type, layouts, just roundy round, left turn, let's race down the track. I do a full-size bone stock class. Here this past year, some of the guys have been running actually compact cars in the bone stock class, full-size. Because I do not allow my wheelbase for my compact is 106 and below. So you can't run a W body in my compact class for my rules. So they've been running these W bodies in my bone stock, and I've actually had a few of them build to my super stock rules full size as well.
Yeah, because they're fucking wicked.
Big cars in my super stock class.
Yeah, they're wicked.
Over the years, we've had trucks, which were a hot item for a while. Loved watching them. Actually, probably one of my favorite classes to watch for a few years. But then again, it just started dwindling down, and I understand it. A square body Chevy truck right now is worth its weight in gold. So, same with an old Ford, any 70 models Ford, the same way. So it's kind of a rough patch to go down, and some people don't understand the scientific equation behind having a successful derby, but you can't have a class where the cars cost $5,000-$10,000 just to buy even one that's rusted out to put out on the track. It ain't never going to work out. But so I've done away with the truck class and brought back the full-size bone stock class. And this last year we've had a lot of them cars running. I have a lot of good feedback for this year. So Really, the 4 main classes, like I said, 3-day compact, full-size bone stock. We do the enduro races and also the full-size super stock class.
So, Josh, on your bone stock class, or do you allow motor swaps, rear end swaps, sliders, all that stuff with, just maybe no down tubes or anything like that?
So the full-size bone stock class is not it's pretty bone stock. It's got to be, Chevy to Chevy, Ford to Ford. We do allow you can weld your front bumper on because we don't want them falling off. It's a pretty basic build. Chain the doors, wire the doors, 4-point cage. You're allowed the down tubes for safety. Pretty much other than that, I mean, it's you can run a set of skid steer tires on the back, but other than that, you're just allowed a simple dimple in the rear frame, and that's it. Run them, basically leave them on the track and junk them out.
So when is your first show?
The first show is June 9th, Union, Missouri.
June 9th in Union.
Yep.
Might have to
mosey
down there since, we're not doing the promotion stuff anymore. So we have a lot more free time where we can go watch these things to see if that's something that we want to throw a car together and hit to the second one.
Heck yeah.
So.
Well, let's jump out of that and we'll quit drilling him on those questions. Let's talk.
Wop, 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 wop.
Let's talk about Josh driving a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out what Derek was just doing.
He's wheeling it because the last time I saw him run was at Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want to know?
How'd you get started, dude?
Enjoy it. Just love having a good time doing it.
How'd you get started doing it? What made you do it?
So, I started derby. My first derby, I was 14 years old. Here at my local show, Owensville, Missouri, Gastonade County Fair. I've always grew up around one of my good friends that's big into the derby. I consider him a legend, but some people might not, but I do. Eddie Schoenfeld. Me and Eddie Schoenfeld go back a long ways. And not talking any trash on my father, my dad, but my dad never really had me into doing anything like that, automotive-wise, and I've always had just a knack for tinkering around on motors and cars and stuff. And my buddy Eddie Schoenfeld one day said, "Heck, we ought to throw you a car together. Go run the Demolition Derby." He'd been doing it for about 4 or 5 years. And so this was back in 1996, 97, I think. Which is going to sound funny, but threw together an old iron GM, which they were pretty common back then. But that was my first show in Owensville, and honestly, never looked back. It's been going on for, I think now 25, going on 26 years.
Well, it looks like now pretty much everything that you're running, which I think about everything you're running now is 80s and newer, and it looks like you are a Lincoln guy.
I have my spurts. I've had my Crown Vic days. I've built several 98 Pro 2 P71 Vics, bought a cab company out, built several of them. Went through the square body phase. I mean, I still own a lot of all kinds of different cars, but because the last old iron I ran would have been in New York, and that's been about I don't know, 6-7 years ago at the big show in New York. I went up there and I ran a old iron GM, but Fords. Fell in love with the Lincolns. I used to actually hate them, which is funny because a buddy of mine used to build a few of them, and I don't know what he was doing. Never had good luck with them, and one day a buddy of mine said, "Man, you ought to build one of them Lincolns. You've got a 98 Throw 2 down pat pretty good." So he's like, "I'd love to see you run one," and so I built one, and now I can't buy enough of them. They're addicting, and I wish I could buy 2 of them a week, because I would if I could find them, But no, I love my Lincolns, and I'm gonna stick with them. I got several, so I'm gonna build them till I'm out of them, and who knows, I might switch to something else.
Now, this past year, did we get to see a little swag in a car?
Yeah, little man ran down Hot Springs his first derby, his class. He ran a Toyota Camry. He's my only boy. I was blessed with girls. God bless me for that. Please pray for me. But my youngest is my son, and he's getting to that age, and he did derby this year down at Hot Springs his first time, and he did really good. And kind of evaluating what we're doing this year, but yeah, he's fired up.
I know he was excited whenever I come down there and got some tires and stuff off of you that time. After he got to run down there at Hot Springs, did he carry that on, or did it just get more excited?
Oh, it's always, after the Hot Springs, it's turned into, Dad, are we gonna build a new one? I said, well, there's not much wrong with your car, back end needs some work. And he's like, yeah, but we need to try some other stuff, put a different type of bumper on the next one. And, Alex has been in the shop. He turns 11 this month actually, or next month, sorry, January. And as long as that boy could get to the shop, he's been there. So yeah, he might not be 16, 17 yet, but I think back, my son has seen more about derby building cars, derby cars in his lifetime, up until now, than a lot of people do. That kid has seen so many cars come in and out of this shop that he has learned a lot, and it shows because now, like, hey, bud, can you take those tie rods loose for me? He's not even 11 yet, but he's taking tie rods off cars, and not the big stuff yet, but he is, and now it's he jokes around with me a lot now because he's getting that age, but he's like, Dad, I think you need to retire so you can give me all your derby stuff. Because I'm like, you got a long ways to go for that, buddy. It's always a joke, but it's something that I'll never make my kid do. But if he wants to do it, if he walks up to me and says, Dad, let's build a car for me, it's going to happen. But I'll never force it on him.
Well, even you just saying what you said there about him, like, that's how this sport grows. It's the 10-year-olds that are out there in the shop, putting the hours in, wanting to learn that stuff. That's what makes this sport what it is.
And most all of them started in a Power Wheels.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some nights if I'm home on the weekend, and it's derby season, which I call it, which anymore ranges from January to January. But anyway, and there's some weekends I tell myself, man, I'm going to take her easy, maybe grill some food this weekend, just relax. And Alex would be like, hey, Dad, are we going to go strip that car out? And it's just like, he's kind of like my fire, he's kind of like my flame, because some days I'm like, oh, man, I'm getting wore out doing this. But, he's kind of my spark, I should say. And, man, I appreciate it so much. I really do.
He's just your little push. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's just your little push to just keep digging and keep going with it. And you never know. Hell, he could be the next, he can be a youth champion in Peoria in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I hope he is. I hope he has a lot more, I really do. I hope he has a great career if he decides to do this. And if he doesn't, whatever he decides to do, I hope we're good at it. And, I love my kids, and I'll do as much as I can to support anything they want to do. So, whatever he picks, that's what we'll do.
Well, I know you have run down at Hot Springs. I'm pretty sure you've run down at Kennett. Our episode earlier, we were talking about all these big shows around, such as Spring X and Metal Mayhem, which I know you've been to Mayhem too. Have you attempted to get a spot at the Peoria show yet?
So we tried to get a couple of my buddies. We tried to get a Whiskey City and a Peoria spot. Had no luck doing it. I do have a River City Rampage spot, which I'm not 100% sure if I'll go to that or not. Depends on my schedule. I have a Metal Mayhem spot already. I am on a Wicked team this year, so in March down in Kentucky, and also naturally Hot Springs I'll be running for sure. But kind of got a busy schedule this year. I normally try not to stick my neck out there for more than 2 shows because just between work and family and so forth, I try not to stretch myself too far out. But this year I told my wife, I said, I think we're just going to try to sign up for as many as we can. And like I said, we got Wicked Team Show, we got Havoc, Metal Mayhem, River City Rampage, and whatever else we decide to do after that later in the year. Possibly talking to some guys about some bone stock team for Sam Williams. So we'll see what's going on there and hope for the best.
That's the next one. From a promotional side, and the driving standpoint, what do you think about the South Dakota the week before Blizzard Bash deal where you can qualify and all that stuff? Do you think that's something that is going to continue breaking the mold and everything is going to jump on that bandwagon? Or do you think that the Blizzard Bash will still kind of take precedence?
After kind of what happened, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail with a lot of that stuff, but, my opinion, everyone hears my opinion about this, it's my opinion, I'm not saying I'm right, you're right, I'm wrong, you're wrong, whatever, but, I think what happened, kind of really set the tone. Sam Williams, I ran his show when he had Blizzard Bash for, several years, and he's a hell of a guy, and, I honestly, Sam is a hell of a guy. I couldn't say one bad thing about Sam Williams, actually, as a promoter, but I honestly think it's the new fad, and I think and I hope that people support it, and I do like the big qualifying here at this show or that show for whatever reason, and I kind of like the layout of it. I do like also that Sam is bringing a bone stock team show. That's kind of my wheelhouse now. I fell in love with it, and that's kind of what I do, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I think Sam Williams' show this next year, I think it's going to put a hurting on the other one, if you want to know my honest opinion. I know some of these big guys, these big team drivers, I know that they have the means and every which way to be able to have 4 cars built for a show a week apart, but I think that Sam Williams show is going to be a great show. It's quite the drive for me, but I drive out there, I drive farther every week, so it's definitely going to be worth supporting and looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
That's what I was telling Derek. I was like, yeah, it is a long haul out there. I was like, but after you've moved campers across the United States, whenever somebody's like, well, it's 1,200 miles, I'm like, oh, that ain't too bad.
Yeah. He's talking about driving, and I'm looking for the closest fucking airport.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, well, that ain't too bad. It wouldn't even take us, we'd be over there a day and a half. It ain't
yeah, it ain't bad.
But, no, I think you're 100% right. I think that everybody's always looking for the next big thing. And I would say with Sam having the following and the reputation that he has, whatever he puts out there, they're going to try.
Yep.
I think that this whole qualifying thing is awesome. It's something new. Nobody's seen it yet. It's everybody's excited about it. I know it's got the Derby community talking. Like, if you are a driver or a spectator with Facebook, you've had some kind of opinion or input on what's going on.
Yes. Yes.
So I like that even some of the other shows are incorporating this whole one and done thing into stuff, because I like the shit out of the one and done. So.
Well, yeah, not only that, just the shows that are supporting Sam's qualifying side, that says a lot. It really does. But you know what? That's what needs to happen. That, I'm not about
unified.
Yes, I'm not saying it's ever going to happen 100%, but we all need to get somewhere on the same level, as in, try. Yeah, it doesn't. The problem of this is a lot of people out in this world, they don't want to give an inch. They want their way or no way. And, But you got to understand, in order to make this great, there's going to have to be some sacrifices made by everybody.
Yes.
That way we can be better and we can, rise up to the top because, this sport could be twice as big as what it is. It's just we all need to all sacrifice something for the better good for the sport and try to get closer to the same page as we possibly can. And I'm sure, that'll never happen. I hear all that all the time, and I get it. I do, but
I couldn't have said that any better myself.
you got to. Everyone needs to put down some selfishness a little bit, and everyone needs to sacrifice a little bit.
Swallow
to
that
make
pride.
The sport great if that's what they want. If not, then they need to step away entirely.
I think if there would be less of a pissing contest and everybody got together to unify the sport of demolition derby, it would be as big as NASCAR.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because what's NASCAR? It's just dumbass rednecks like us going fast. Well, we just want to go fast and hit people.
Right.
Same dumbass rednecks.
Well, they do the same thing in NASCAR. They just don't show it as much.
Correct.
They're going more in a circle, but they still run into each other.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
But no, I agree with you 100%. If everybody would just step back, take that big swallow, get some of that pride laid back down where it needs to be, and, say that you got to give 6 inches on a bumper bracket. Well, that's not going to be the end of the world.
Yep.
But like you said, it's going to take some time to get there, and it's going to take some weeding through some bullshit to make it happen.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think Sam's going in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. He's got, what is it, like 5 or 6 different promoters now helping him with his qualification for that super stock class.
Yeah.
That's huge. Because, they're not part of Sam. They're not part of Ultimate Derby. But they're willing to say, you know what, Sam? We support your show. We will allow the top 3 or the top 5 or whatever it may be out of this class, out of this show. That's, we're going to, and the cool thing of it is, and I'm sure you've heard about it, but most of these guys, if you listen and talk about it, let's see, let's see, like Iron City, or you have, any of them guys, Derby Icons, like they said, if you are that guy, if you're those 3 guys, we will make sure you are there. We are going to support you guys getting to that show because we want this all to take place. So they're stepping back and they're going to support this 100% to make it happen, and that's awesome.
Well, Josh, I know we've ate up about a half hour of your time. So we're going to wrap this podcast up, man. We appreciate the shit out of you jumping on air and voicing your opinion and kind of telling it from the drivers and the promoters' side of it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, guys. You guys do great things, too. I like what you guys are doing, and mad respect to you guys always. You should know that. But other than that, like I said, thank you. And anytime you need me, if I'm not busy, I'm willing to do anything. So just let me know.
Well, take some time and get healed up, and we will
we will. That put a freaking damper in a lot of shit, boy. I'm telling you, I got cars stripped in the shop. I got that team show in March, and it's almost January already, and it's just like, oh boy. And talking about doing surgery on my shoulder, and it's not looking good, but you know what? I'm staying positive, and we're going to get these cars built, and by God, if I have to put someone in my driver's seat, that's what's going to happen. So we're going to make it happen.
Well, Swag, we appreciate it, and it was good talking to you, as always.
All right, guys, I appreciate it so much.
Have a good one, buddy.
Later, brother.
Well, you too.
Mr. Swag himself.
It was.
We haven't talked to him, and that is the fucked up part.
Yeah, because he has no clue what we talked about at the beginning of this podcast.
None, zero, but he just really helped bring everything else to light. about what we talked about. So it's not just us. It's not just us as promoters. It's not just us as Hard Nosed Derby podcast or drivers or announcers or whatever.
Steve and Dick Beater sitting around a poker table.
Correct.
I mean,
that was a whole different, same state, but different. Yeah.
Same, but different.
Yeah. Samesies.
Yeah. I mean, like, because that dude, like, we're Northeast Missouri. He is the dirty South.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a haul, man, but I do want to go. I want to see one of these. I don't think I've ever...
Well, everybody says that Enduro is worth watching.
And they're just compacts, right? Yeah. Like a gut-and-go compact.
Well, yeah. The way I understood it, we pulled his rules up after we shut her down. But, I mean, he found out what it took to make his shows successful.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it wasn't just him scanning what he liked. I mean,
he talked to the drivers. He talked to the builders. He got their perspective and figured it out, and he has good outcomes.
Like he said, the first rule set that he got, yes, it worked. The next year, they made it better.
Yep.
The year after that, they made it better. You know, just like that, he said it straight up. And that's what people don't understand with these adding and unadding classes. The truck's super successful, badass, loved watching them. It dwindled out. The fire burnout. Well, so to get that fire burning again, what do? You mix a little oil and gasoline.
Yep. They burn.
You throw together another class. You know, the next big thing, because that's what everybody's always looking for.
Yep. Yeah.
And I would love, after this episode, after these people, you know, because we've got people in Colorado, you know, everywhere, Nebraska, Iowa, we're reaching out to these people that are in this shit, like the sports, the promoters, the people that are videoing this stuff, the fan. Holler at us, tell us, are you seeing this stuff in your state? You know, because I don't feel like this is a localized issue.
No, hell no.
You know, I mean, we had a Kansas promoter slide over into Missouri, and wow. You know, they try to run him out on a rail.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not what we're looking for.
No. And we keep going back to that. We don't want to see any promoter fail. And the promoter that you're talking about, he can go right back to Kansas and have his badass shit just like normal. You know, he tried to the branching.
Come on, let's see a little bit of that. Let's incorporate some of that. That's how we get the out-of-state driver.
Yeah.
Insubordination is the ruination of anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you got to have people that'll work with you too.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, so
if anybody takes anything out of this episode, talk to your neighbor.
Yeah. Yes. Quit making a pissing contest.
Ooh, Dirty Sanchez is calling. We don't want to take that one right now.
No, we're going to wait on that one.
Put him right on the spot. Answer that shit. Put him right on there.
I could.
Do it. Let's do it.
All right, hell with it.
You're alive.
What is up?
Bro, as flat as these tires are on this fucking van, they've been kicked off even harder.
Well, you are jumping right into an episode of Hard Nosed Derby Podcast because you're on. You're on right now. You're being recorded.
Perfect. What's up, Derby Creek?
Oh well. I guess we've got another guest on.
We do. Little impromptu. What are you doing, dickhead?
Just pulled a couple minivans around back, trying to get shit stripped out of them.
Now, I have been wanting to ask him. We talked a couple episodes ago about people starting to build down a little bit, you know, get away from the harder stuff. This is the one that I actually did bring up because he has taken that into consideration. He doesn't want to run against 4 or 5 of his buddies all the fucking time. He wants to broaden out a little bit, so he's actually building down.
The last guest that we just had on talked about classes dwindling out.
Mm-hmm.
So, Clayton, since we've got you on here, what are your thoughts on this, the whole having to step down and build to a lighter class because of the following not being there? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, personally, I hate it because obviously it took me, 3 or 4 years of building to actually get to the point to where I was, where I am now, It kind of sucks for us because you got to take all that hard work and effort and put it to the side. And if you want to have fun during the summer and run, you kind of got to bump down a little bit. Or, for me personally, I might just slow down a little bit, take a little bit of a break. But we'll probably run a couple of boats here and there. But, it kind of sucks for a lot of us guys that have been doing it a while because, you spend 3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 summers, 3 or 4 winters, hard at it every night, missing family time, being late to the dinner table because, you're trying to figure out a different way to build this or do that. And, you walk a little away, kind of kicking the balls, but it is what it is. I give it 2 years, it'll be back.
But yeah, that's mainly where we were going with all this, with all the rule changes, the classes that have kind of burnt out a little bit. We stopped by your shop and we talked about it. That stuff's like a revolving door.
That's the way I look at it too. Like I said, personally, if I really wanted to, I'd keep everything I had to the side in 2 years. We're going to be back to the same spot because every year there's going to be somebody that's like, well, my court did this, let's add this to the rules, and as soon as they add it, it's like you said, a revolving door just comes back around.
Yeah, you'll end up right back. You'll end up right back where you were with a full tilt mod compact build.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But no, we didn't. We just wanted to fuck with you a little bit and throw you right on the spot. I mean, you were calling, we were recording.
You did pretty good though.
Well, you tell your son to get a hold of me. I'm pretty much going to give him the same shit because I'm tired of looking at it. So.
As soon as I get home, I will have him text you.
Hey, until if Steven can hear me, I might be looking for if Austin gets this show together, I might be interested in partnering for this 2-man street stocks, boom, channel if we can make something happen.
Ruh-roh.
Oh, man. That's going to be right there on the air Thursday.
I got somebody online for it, but he said he wants to look at the rules first, so we'll see. But
no, I don't have to look at rules. I'll show up. I can be shitty at one build just as easy as I can the next.
I probably wouldn't get anywhere anyway. So.
But no, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. So I figured you got to be done with this shit by now. It's like 7 o'clock, man.
We don't got no life, bro.
Anyways.
I'll give you a shake.
Get a hold of me.
Will do, brother.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Well, that was a nice little.
I don't want to go to his shop because he's probably going to bag slap both of us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm sure he was like, "These son of a bitch." Yeah. Oh man!
But
I want to be on a team with that fuck stick.
Well, you wouldn't have to be the kill car.
Yeah, but what's going to be coming after him?
Well, they'll be coming after you. No. They're going to go after him.
Right.
So you can just kind of chill out and weed it out a little bit.
Yeah, but things would be pissed off and didn't help. And that seems like another episode.
Wait, I got a teammate in this thing?
But, Josh, straight up, dude, I want to go. I want to go watch one of these shows.
Honestly, he said it straight up. That's his opinion, and I don't agree with everything that Josh says either. Like him and I, whenever we were working together, we'd stop and eat lunch or whatever. There was some stuff that I'm like, man, I can't get behind it.
Yeah.
But
just like chaining the driver's door.
Yeah.
I would rather let them put some weld on there. I mean, that is a safe. And I know you get a couple down tubes there to protect your legs, but
no, and I mean, and that's all of what happens and what works in that area. That's why this unified shit is so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But I think, and this is greediness and selfishness, I guess, on the promoting side of me, is if everybody's on the same page and all the rules are the same, they'll either build to that shit or they won't run no more.
Correct. Yeah, if 42 fair shows within 2 hours have the same rules, you don't like them rules, so you're either going to A, sell your shit, or B, go way somewhere else. I mean, that's your two issues.
Yeah.
That's pretty cut and dry, though.
Right. It takes the whiny bullshit out of it.
Yes. Well, he's got such and such. Well,
they
don't matter.
Yeah. Same rules. Sorry.
Correct. Yeah. Different text, same rules.
Yeah.
And I think that we haven't really talked about it. Sam,
let me get some more information on it before we go into that.
the only thing that I do know is there has been a compact tech who has came on board with Ultimate Derby and Derby Icons.
Right.
So that guy is going to be teching at least 5 shows,
right,
of the 9 qualifiers. Right. And if I'm going to guess, he's probably going to get on with the other ones.
Right. That sense of familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, where you've got that one controlled factor.
Yes. As soon as we got informed that our guest was sick and wasn't going to be able to be here, I reached out to somebody, and he still won't talk. He says, I hate talking. So, Cordell, if you're listening, I'm going to get you to talk. Cordell is on kind of the same size as Josh.
Right.
Except on the promotion side where, Cordell is on the tech side. Yes, Chris Williams is still the head tech for all the UD stuff.
You think if we sent him like an extra medium shirt, that help butter the situation out?
Either that or we're going to have to go to Iowa.
If we do that, though, we can't hold him down.
I can't catch the little bastard.
That's what I'm saying.
He gone.
We're not going to be able to.
Gone.
He may run fast, but sooner or later he'll stop, take a breath, and he'll be right there.
No.
No.
I've seen him do shit where you needed 42 monsters and a street pharmacist to keep up with him, and it still wouldn't happen.
He's one of those.
Yeah. Cordell runs on a very short fuse all the time.
The dude's wound up.
But he's a badass builder, and he knows what he's talking about. So that is going to happen. I'm going to say it. I did tell him that we were going to get, Chris and everybody on it, Peoria. So he's just going to have to join in the room too, so.
Even if he's a fly on the wall.
Oh, he is. I mean, that's just Cordell. I haven't seen that dude forever, but
no, I think this has been an informative podcast.
Very informative.
Again, we localized to Missouri. I want to branch out there, so our out-of-state guys talk to us.
Yep.
I mean, we've got a couple people hitting us up. We've got some shit in the works. Talk to us. I want to know.
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Thirsty for knowledge.
We did a little segment the other night, having a congratulatory, little thing. But I do want to say prayers for Skinny.
Yes.
Skinny is, I believe, this morning he was 19 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
Don't know what all for sure he does got going on, but if you've got an extra minute,
just be thinking about the
be thinking about him
because Skinny he's always
good shit. Yeah. Skinny's good shit, man. So, just keep him on you. If you got a prayer board, you got a prayer list, or you just do the self prayer. Just say one for the Skinny.
Because the dude, I mean, he's like I said, he's good shit.
Oh yeah. And we were trying to get it planned to get over there to him, so to do an episode. So he's gonna have to get out of that shit. Oh, I know. If we didn't have to go do a cleanup, we were gonna do it. But I think, like you said, pretty informative.
Out of state, reach out. Come on.
Yes. Other than the guys who have already reached out. So be watching for some posts on Facebook under the Hard Nose page. It's going to be a little bit more informative to you. Some of the people who has reached out to us, you're going to have a few questions answered.
Yep.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
I guess what we'll call it, baby steps. So, brother man, you got anything to say?
No, man. I think that's it. Let's end it.
Make junk, boys.